Looking back at 2023, the tenacity of cybercriminal tactics and the effectiveness of the diverse attacks were trains that marked the year. But understanding that the threat landscape is not expected to change entirely, it is therefore crucial to contemplate their potential continuance and formulate strategic approaches to effectively counteract emerging ones this year. Dr. Fenel Sakwe, a global cybersecurity leader and a member of the Forbes Technology Council, shares his thoughts on navigating the cybersecurity landscape in 2024. Dr. Fenel, reflecting on the cybersecurity landscape in 2023, what were some notable failed predictions or unforeseen challenges that emerged, and how did they impact the industry?
So I think it's more of unforeseen challenges that showed up. There are several, but let me touch on two. So one of them was we saw a CISO get sentenced this year for 3 years. I just want to mention the name of the companies out there on the internet, but that is unprecedented. This now means CISOs, because this is how you set precedents. It now means potentially, depending on what happens. So that was unforeseen. The second one, which I think I would touch on, is what I call the shift in targets. So previously, we always used to think that the banks were the biggest targets. But I mean, if you look at Wall Street Journal, for example, in September, they published an article that said that 61 million patients across the world had their data exposed. So we saw that all of a sudden there's a shift now from just financial targets to what I kind of call softer targets. So I think everyone now needs to be aware, not just the financial institutions.
As a global cybersecurity leader, how do you perceive the evolving threat landscape, and what lessons can organizations draw from the development of 2023 to enhance their security posture in 2024?
So several lessons to learn. One is pay attention to your third parties. Because of the way technology is now, nothing is built from scratch anymore. What I have seen now is people are bridging third parties to be able to get into organizations simply because they knew they could not bridge the actual organization. And these third parties are not just systems. These are now even people. The third parties you have as your cleaners, as your consultants, they are all third parties. So I think that's somewhere to begin to pay attention to.
Now, based on what you said, recognizing that people, employees are a crucial line of defense, how can organizations foster a culture of cybersecurity awareness and resilience among them?
What I would say about awareness is this. We need to move from awareness to training. And the difference for me is awareness says there's a fire, I need a fire extinguisher. You are aware that there needs to be a fire extinguisher. Training says there's a fire, that is the fire extinguisher, that is where I pick it up, this is how I use it, and this is the results I get. So I think the organization need to train their employees to know what to do in the event of a cybersecurity breach. One, also know how to make sure that they always apply the right cybersecurity principles, because just being aware is no longer enough.
Well, Dr. Fenel, we have the role of artificial intelligence and machine learning, playing in the future of cybersecurity, particularly when it comes to addressing the increasing sophistication of cyber threats. What role do they play?
So again, maybe I think because I'm a thought leader, I get to put out a lot of thoughts on this. I have an article which is titled Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, and it was endorsed at the Model United Nations General Assembly in October. One of the things, so just to pull out one of the things I mentioned there, the role they play really is the role we decide they should play. So, and you need to be careful with this. So, for example, one time, some years back, when I was the head of, cyber for a particular multinational, we used to have denial of service attacks. Denial of service attacks simply means that your computer has just shut down and you are not able to work. you are denied service of the computer systems. And we tried all the different things. It just couldn't work. Eventually, we had to leverage a system, a machine learning system, because we were suffering what is called a zero-day attack. A zero-day attack is an attack that has never happened before. You cannot prepare for it. You don't know what it is. It's just created for you today, right? So we needed machine learning. And what we did was leverage machine learning to learn the environment within the periods where the environment operates as it should. And so the protocol we put in place was anything that distorts this environment from this normal, so this becomes your normal, anything that distorts it from this normal, kick out. And so that was how we were able to come out of it. So we couldn't use any of your regular models. It had to be learn the environment during the period where we are operating as normal. Anything you see coming to distort this operation, kick out. And that's machine learning. So it was able to learn the environment. And so that's one way. I think another way people, especially in security, we could leverage artificial intelligence is in terms of just what we call security operations. There's a lot of blocking of IP addresses. There's a lot of, I think a lot of that could be, artificial intelligence could help just automate that piece because it's very labor intensive now.
Well, Dr. Fene, just before you go, could you provide some forecasts or predictions for cybersecurity trends in 2024 that organizations should be mindful of, and maybe proactive measures that they can take to stay resilient in the face of evolving threats?
Yes. So I think I put out 7 in January, but again, because of time, let's look at 2 or 3. One of them that I put out is what we call, state-sponsored attacks. And state-sponsored attacks simply talk about one state sponsoring hackers to try and breach security of another country. Okay. And I think that in a year like this, where the UK are going to the polls, the US are going to the polls, like real powerhouses are going to the polls. With the wars and the rumors of wars we're hearing, we think that at the national levels, we need to take cybersecurity very seriously because I see a lot more state-sponsored attacks. Okay, that's one. Another one I spoke about is what I call the evolution of ransomware. Because typically ransomware is no longer news. I mean, they take your computer, someone encrypts it and says you must send $1 million, otherwise you're not going to have access to your data. Now, the evolution which we are beginning to see is that you are beginning to pay twice. So not only do they take your system and say, hey, we own your system, you cannot log onto your system except you pay XYZ, most times through cryptocurrency, and then you have your data back. Now you pay for your data to come back. Then they come back again and say, hey, by the way, that data you paid for, now you have access to your system, but we still have your data. You need to pay now to ensure we do not publish the data we had online. So just think about your personal data just going online like that. So it's called double extortion. So we expect to see a lot more of that. The other one, which is a bit soft, but it's based on my research, is I call it security burnout. I think that a lot of heads of cybersecurity across government parastatals and private, I think they're going to start, they're beginning to get burnt out. I was speaking at a conference in Amsterdam. We had about 30, security professionals in the room. And I asked, how many of you are just burnt out? Like, it's just tiring. All 30 raised their hands up. And what that just means is we need to begin to pay attention to mental health for cybersecurity professionals.
Well, it was such a pleasure having you join us on Tech Trends, Dr. Fene Osakwe, member of the Forbes Technology Council.
Thank you very much, Olayemi. Thank you for having me.
And it's a wrap on the show this week. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you are interested in keeping track of how tech-savvy innovators are crafting homegrown solutions using technology in the country, well, keep watching Tech Trends because we will continue to showcase them for you. From startups to big techs, and of course, inventful thinkers. Also, if you missed any part of the show, you can always catch up on the channel's TV tip accounts where we have all of our episodes, and I encourage you to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Utunuga. I'll see you next time.